Chairman, thank you all for being here today. Ms. Weintraub, some series of questions for you. Commissioner, a Freedom of Information Act request to the Commission indicates that you cooperated with and assisted the Select Committee on January 6 back in October of 2021. What did you discuss in your meeting with the Select Committee?
You know, I don't know if I can fully recall off the top of my head. I wasn't expecting to be asked about that. I can tell you generally that I took a phone call with some of their staff, and they asked me questions about the law, areas of the law that I am fairly expert in. Didn't get into any factual analysis. It was really just a discussion of what the law permits and doesn't permit, but I would be hard pressed to come up with the details at this.
So was there only one conversation?
I believe so.
Okay. Do you know if that was documented, either with you or by the January 6th committee or the commission?
I don't think that I have any documentation, and I couldn't say whether they do.
Did you seek advice from other commissioners before engaging with the Select Committee, or notify them that you were going to do this?
I don't recall. It's not at all unusual for people out in the world to reach out to commissioners and say, hey, you're an expert on campaign finance law, can we ask you a few questions?
Okay. Did you play any other role or give any other assistance to the January 6th committee?
I don't believe so, no.
Okay, thank you for that. Commissioner Weintraub, the greatest source of dysfunction at the FEC in recent years has been caused by the Democratic commissioners' deliberate strategy of blocking the closure of enforcement cases and forcing the agency to default in litigation. You and your staff have proudly claimed responsibility for disrupting the FEC's enforcement work in order to allow left-wing groups to sue the agency and to bypass the commission to sue political campaigns and groups. A federal court in the case of Heritage Action for America versus FEC and the Campaign Legal Center versus Heritage Action for America has recently ruled that your actions were illegal and violated the Administrative Procedures Act. Do you still stand by that strategy?
Well, I would have to respectfully disagree with a lot of the characterizations in the question, but the law empowers me as a commissioner to vote on whether to close matters, to dismiss the cases, and I make my decisions in each case in the way that I think the law and the facts of those cases dictate. And the law also empowers me to vote on whether to defend the agency in litigation. That is something that Congress put into the statute and required a four-vote required four votes in order to defend. I think that was actually a good move because what it does is it provides some incentive to the commission to try and work together to make sure that they have four votes to support the substance of what the commission is doing. And
can you explain what the strategy of blocking, as is read here, means? Are you just refusing to vote?
No. There may have been some, I'd have to go back and look at the individual votes. There may have been some votes that I abstained on and other votes that I thought that the agency should not send its lawyers to court to defend the positions of less than half of the commission. None of these involved majority decisions. And by the way, there's a very small handful of cases that we're talking about. Again, going back to your premises, this did not largely disrupt the operations of the agency.
All right, we'll move on. The New York Times published an article on June 8, 2021 titled, Democrats' Improbable New FEC Strategy, More Deadlock Than Ever. Commissioner Weintraub, do you stand by its content that your goal in the agency appears to be to take a commission widely seen as dysfunctional and create further deadlock, compelling federal courts to fill the breach when it comes to policing federal election law?
Again, I would not agree with that characterization necessarily, but I do think the courts can play a constructive role.
Did you ever discuss the strategy with Campaign Legal Center or other outside parties?
Nope.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, without objection, I'd like to enter into the record three documents. One is the legal news line, FOIA records, January 6th, House Select Committee investigator consulted with FEC commissioners sparking ethics questions. Second is United States District Court for the District of Columbia memorandum and opinion, and the third is an article from the New York Times, Democrats Improbable New FEC Strategy, More Deadlock Than Ever.
Without objection, so ordered.
And I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Mr. Kilmer, if you'd like to go right away, otherwise we can go to Republican and let you collect your thoughts. Mr. Kilmer is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thanks, Mr. Chair.